Many venture capital firms will have a big job trying to find someone to bank them, and it takes time to open these accounts as well. Many banks don't achieve SVB's kind of turnaround time, he said. Ms. Squier stressed that ANZ's solid risk aversion appetite and large deposit base mean it's in no rush to chase customers or grow. But after a decade of low interest rates, its deposit book has once again contributed to returns. Transactional banking and the deposit book are starting to take lives now and are actually giving us very healthy returns, she said. On-site liquidity after a tough history and underperforming ANZ's Asian business for over a decade, ANZ's corporate head Mark Whelan dismissed fears that the recent turmoil in global markets will curb its offshore business and make the task of raising capital growth more difficult. The new arrangement, Basel IV, has been an advantage for corporate companies because it has reduced some of the risk-heavy asset concentration around some of our businesses, Mr. Whelan told AFR Weekend in Hong Kong. Mr. Whelan said concerns about US regional banks in particular only benefit larger players globally, including Asia. He added that liquidity remains in the banking system. Money came out, but it all went to majors or money market accounts, he said. Mr. Whelan said ANZ has spent the last 6 years responding Basel III regulations, which have significantly increased capital consumed by overseas lending and trade, making it difficult for ANZ to generate similar returns to the domestic mortgage market in Australia. But while declining mortgage yields have spurred more investment in digital banking for small businesses, Mr. Whelan said corporate business is now right size with right mix of products and loan book is funded by deposits, again contributing to returns above cost of capital. This is a significantly different business than it was in 2015 in terms of all these factors. We were beaten by analysts because the returns on international part of corporateness were quite low. We are now in a position where I think this is a real value for the group, he said. Mr. Whelan said ANZ will continue to prioritise the mortgage business, as well as growing its high-yield commercial business, but international business will contribute more. He declined to comment on how competition, particularly in mortgages, is reducing returns, but said Australia's returns were unusually high given the global average in developed markets, which is about 9%. Mark Whelan, head of corporate banking at ANZ. And while business banking chiefs at this week's banking summit complained that even small business loans are being written off below cost capital, Mr. Whelan said ANZ will consider issuing some of its technology from the corporate bank to support digitalization its commercial bank. Simon Ireland, head of international trade, said ANZ will grow as Australian pension funds begin to think more like their Canadian counterparts, establishing offices in New York and London to directly invest in real assets such as infrastructure for the energy transition. We already know very well from Australia, so we make sure to talk to them when they are there and stand by when they want to do something in that area, he said. The author was in Hong Kong as a guest of ANZ Bank.